The biggest compliment that I've received as a guitar player is the fact that, you know, people will tell me that they could identify it's me from however many notes in a solo or something. I think that's a huge compliment. I guess my style comes from the stuff I was attracted to when I was a kid. So I don't know exactly where that comes from, but I always was into melodic guitar solos that were within the confines of a song that really enhanced a song, especially in rock and roll, you know, like where the most exciting thing in the song besides the chorus was this guitar section that came in. You actually really anticipated it. And all my favorite guitar players, from Eric Clapton to Elliot Easton, Joe Walsh to Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Beck, all these guys, Rick Nielsen and Joe Perry, they all had these great sort of, you know, 30-second, if that, little guitar breaks that really said something and carried the song along, and that was it. And so that's what I was influenced by. A lot of people ask me about how I develop style, you know, and I really don't have any particular techniques or anything that I worked really hard on. So when you mentioned vibrato, I have no idea where that vibrato comes from. It's not something I practiced or anything like that. I never sat down and really focused on vibrato. I know what kind of vibrato I don't like, and I consciously stay clear. If I ever hear myself sort of go off into that realm, I'll catch myself. But how I do any kind of particular vibrato, I'm not real aware of. I'm a stickler for intonation, and something I learned early on, that intonation was just as important as being in tune, which I think is totally true. But you know, there's not really a lot. I think, you know, you get into vibrato because you want to make something sing, and you sort of rock the string back and forth to really get as much out of the note as possible. I like the 3-finger technique, the old school. And you can do that and approach playing in a different way than you do with the pinky. But so I do them both, and I'm consciously aware. Some of the, let's see, 50% of the time I'm aware of which style I'm using. There's something about using your 3rd finger to do stretches and stuff, and to have to move your hand around and to constantly to get from here to here with using this finger, where normally if you're going fast, using your 3rd finger as opposed to your pinky. I don't know, there's something about, you use your 2nd and your 3rd finger differently than you use your 3rd finger and your pinky. And it's just, there's a definite thing about, I can't really explain, about the sort of old school of just using the 3 fingers, and then there's a definite thing about using your pinky and having that much more dexterity. I think the reason I can play in a lot of different styles, it's not so much a different style of guitar playing, but it's different feels of music that I'm attracted to. Like I love, you know, obviously sort of melodic rock and roll and heavy metal and like all that sort of kick-ass stuff, and that sort of mentality I still always approach from a sort of melodic song sense. And a rhythm sense and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of other different kinds of music. Like, I'm not the biggest country guy, but I love a lot of country sensibilities, and I find it easy to be able to adapt to that, and I love to go out and play with somebody who gives me a chance to play in that sort of genre, because I don't do it in Velvet Revolver really, and Guns N' Roses used to f around with it. But anyway, so there's all these different kinds of music, Spanish stuff, you know, like old school blues stuff, that I just feel comfortable playing, and I can adapt my style to sort of fit in those kind of things naturally. There's a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with, and chances are you won't really hear me playing it, like fusion jazz or you know, like I did a lot of sessions with Ray Charles, and there was certain kinds of music that Ray Charles, that was old standards with tons of chord changes and, you know, crazy sort of melodies that I could fit in with. But there was other stuff that was really jazzy to the point where I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't really know where the melody was, you know. Anyway, so there's the stuff that I do that are different kinds of music, are things that I feel comfortable with and that I can understand melodically. And on this new record I just did, I sort of went into different areas where I could do stuff that I couldn't necessarily do in my own sort of bands that I'm in, sort of different sort of directions and stuff. And it's fun to do.